Hi guys, Professor Gustavo here. Thank you very much for joining this online training. Today we're going to talk about how to control the back, how to improve the control that you already have, and how to increase the chances of submitting your opponent. It all comes down to how we control our opponent and how we maintain that control as he tries to escape. Because if I can stay on my opponent's back for as long as I want, I will eventually find a submission. As you guys know, the back is the most dominant position in all jiu-jitsu, and if you're losing it or if you're having trouble finishing from the back, it's time to fix it as soon as possible. If you take a look at all the best guys in our sport, it doesn't matter if they are big or small, lightweights, or if they are guard players or top game players, they all have a very strong back control. And once they get there, it's almost over. They rarely lose the back. Of course, there is a whole system behind that, that's why they are successful. But today we're going to see three little pieces of the big puzzle that I'm sure is going to help you to improve your back control. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you how you can get access to the whole thing, to the whole system, if you really want to take your jiu-jitsu to the next level. So let's get started. Alright guys, so let's start this training here, taking a look at how we control the back. Okay, we have two elements here. Upper torso control and hip control. So I'm on his back here, and in order to control the back and stay on his back for as long as I want to make sure that I keep parallel to the guy. Right? I cannot allow him to create any type of rotation here. Right? The more he starts to become perpendicular to me, see that his shoulder is in the middle of my chest. The more he becomes perpendicular, the more his back is far from my chest. Right? I want to have my chest right behind his back. If with this rotation, if he touches his back on the mat, he's going to escape. I cannot recover the back because the mat is behind his back, not my chest. Right? So the most important thing is keeping flushed against the guy. How do I do that? We have the upper torso control and the hip control. Imagine that the guy has a rectangle here, 4 corners, hip, hip, shoulder, shoulder. I want to pin these 4 corners against my body and stay flushed and parallel to the guy. Okay, that's my back control here. We have different options to control upper torso and to control hips. The most common control for the upper torso to keep both shoulders glued on my chest is using my seat belt. The seat belt allows me to squeeze his chest and keep his shoulders parallel to my chest, and gives me immediate access to his neck. With the gi or no gi, it doesn't matter. Right? The arm that's over his shoulder is the arm that's going to attack his neck. It's available here immediately. Another control that we have is double under. The drawback of this control is that I don't have access to his neck immediately, so I cannot attack him right away. Even though the control is good, but it's going to take me longer to attack his neck. So that's why the seat belt is the most used, because I'm already here in position to attack. Also, if I have double unders, with the gi, I'm going to control here on his lapel, which is very good control. But no gi, I don't have this, so I would have to control hand to hand together. And anytime I have this type of double under control here, I am exposed to some attacks of his. So he could go to a kimura here. Right? It's very common. Kazushi Sakuraba was a master on this. He almost broke Renzo Gracie's shoulder with this technique. So you have to be very careful when you go double unders. So we're going to be working today on the seat belt. And regarding the hip control, the two most common controls are the hooks or the body triangle. The body triangle is probably the best control, but again also it limits my attacks because I'm trapping my own legs, so I cannot use my legs to attack him. I cannot go for arm bars from here, I cannot trap his arm with my legs because my legs are busy. So even though the body triangle is a good control, it limits my attacks a little bit. Also, If the guy is much bigger than me and I have shorter legs, I won't be able to lock my triangle. Imagine if the guy has a big belly here, I would never be able to lock my body triangle. So the body triangle is good, but it's specific. It's not a universal control as the hooks where everybody can do it. So we're going to be talking about today seat belt and double hooks. So when we talk about the seat belt, we have two sides of the seat belt, of course. We have the overhook side and the underhook side. Most of my attacks are going to come when I pick one of those sides. And most of his escapes also are going to come once he picks one of those sides. Right? What's the most common escape here from the back? It's him sliding out, feeling my bottom hook, starting to put his back on the mat. Now he created that rotation where I cannot follow anymore. So the first technique we're going to see is how to improve the back control when we go to the overhook side of the seat belt. So let's take a look here. We are here on the overhook side, and I know that one of his basic or most used escape here is sliding out, as we saw before. So actually with both hooks here, it makes a little easier for him to escape, because all he has to do is kill the bottom hook. Right? Sometimes he's going to just extend his leg, sometimes he's going to use his hand. It doesn't matter what he does. If he clears the bottom hook, he's out. So what we're going to do today is to improve the back control is just having the bottom hook and locking this bottom hook here with my top leg. So instead of having my top hook, I'm going to crisscross my foot behind here, his butt. It's in no danger of foot locks here because it's past his hip. Right? So now look what happens. Because I'm crisscrossing my foot, he cannot clear my bottom foot. If he tries to slide out, it's not going to happen. Right? So I have a much better control with the bottom hook only. What's the drawback of this position here? Let's take a look what's the goal of the top hook. Why I'm abandoning the top hook. The primary goal of the top hook here is not letting the guy go to his knees. Right? I just block his leg, pushing down towards the back wall. So if he tries to go to his knees, I just extend my top hook and I prevent that. If I don't have the top hook because I'm crisscrossing my ankles here, there is always a bigger possibility of him going to his knees. But what's going to prevent that is my seat belt here pinching the top shoulder. So maybe he can throw that leg, his right leg over there, but he cannot go to his knees if I have a tight seat belt here. So what's the purpose of this control here? Is controlling the guy until I'm able to get something on him. Right? Now that I know that he cannot escape, I have time here to work my chokes. Right? Any type of choke that you like. And once I have my hands positioning well, then yes, then I'm going to throw my second hook and I'm ready to finish, because I'm going to be able to use my legs also, both of my hooks, to finish the choke. Right? There are lots of variations here. Sometimes when I throw my top leg, now he escapes the bottom hook. Right? But that doesn't change much because I already have my hands in position. So that's the benefit of controlling the bottom leg and not letting him escape. I limit his attacks. At the same time, I have time now to work my stuff. Right? A little variation that you can do here is the top leg here. Since I know that he wants to go to his knees, I can hook his leg here with my hook. Right? So I crisscross my foot and still hook his leg here, making it harder for him to go to his knees. Now he cannot go to his knees and he cannot slide his hips out going flat against the mat. He's stuck here as I have time to work my submissions. Here we can see the great André Galvão using the bottom hook control and even the little variation hooking Palhares' top leg. See, the Palhares is completely open. Galvão could shoot the top hook at any moment he wanted, but he decides to keep the bottom hook control because he knows as soon as he shoots the top hook, Palhares is going to escape. Palhares is even trying to go belly down here, but Galvão keeps a nice tight control. Alright guys, so next option here is going to the underhook side of the seat belt. So I took his back, all the same, and we fall to the underhook side. Okay? So the first thing I should do is, once we are on the underhook side, I also want to prevent him sliding out, right? Because that's still his primary escape. But look what happens here if you go back to the overhook side. He can only do the sliding out escape if he touches his head on the mat. So his head is already on the mat, right? If he kills my bottom hook because I'm not crisscrossing, he's able to escape. When we are on the underhook side, I can kill that by having my head glued underneath his head. If he cannot touch his head on the mat, he cannot slide out, he cannot touch his back on the mat. So try to slide out there, Axel. He can do, right? I'm controlling his head, keeping my seatbelt tight, and my head underneath his head, lifting my head against his own head, ear by the ear here. So it's very, very hard to slide out. I don't even need to use and crisscross my foot here, because the head alone is enough. Again, if he cannot touch his head on the mat, he cannot touch his back on the mat. So I'm safe here. The most common mistake here is people going to the underhook side and having the head disconnected from his head. Now everything is easier for him. So the second tip here of the video is just keeping your head glued on his head when we are the underhook side. There is no problem if I double up and crisscross my foot here. Right? Also, it just makes harder for him to escape. But because we are on the underhook side, my attacks are already a little more limited if I am parallel to the guy like this. Why? Let's take a look at the overhook side again. When we are on the overhook side, I have both arms free here. I can go up on his neck, finish my rear naked choke if it's no gi, of course. I have my lapel chokes here. My arms are completely free to choke him out. When we are on the underhook side, my bottom arm gets a little bit stuck here because there is body weight on top of it. So it's very, very hard to go for the rear naked choke, for example, even if I latch on his neck here. If I try to free this arm here, he might try to squeeze, I'm gonna have trouble. When we are on the underhook side, having the head underneath his head is a very, very good control. But in terms of attack, there comes the third position of the video. I wanna get an angle here in order to attack him better, in order to give me more options besides the choke. Yeah, I can still choke him with one arm, yes. If I get on his neck here, sometimes this is enough. No gi controlling his shoulder is enough. Of course, I can have one hand here and the other on the other lapel. It's fine too. But that's pretty much what I have here. So if I want to add more opportunities to attack him, I want to create a little angle here from the underhook side. Okay? This angle is not available on the overhook side. We're going to see why, but look at what I'm going to do. Step on his hip, I'm going to push off here on his hip. I'm going to lift my seat belt up. I lift it up. As I move my head here close to his hip, I want to try to get a little more perpendicular to him. Okay? Step, push off, cross this foot against his stomach, and move my head here. It's a very short move, but powerful. See that we are a little more
perpendicular here. The foot that was across his stomach, I'm hooking the top hip now. I hook the top hip, and I can use this foot to stay on top of my own heel here, pressing down, okay, to lock the guy. That's the angle I'm looking for now to start using this leg. With this angle, I still have the same chokes, and even more, right, bow and arrow, everything. But this leg now is free, so I can start using to trap his arm. Sometimes I'm gonna start faking the choke here. He's gonna try to pull my arm down. I just go with it and trap his arm. Anytime I trap his arm, now it's 2 arms of mine against 1 of his. Eventually I'm gonna win this battle here. I just have to be patient here. There's a big strategy from the back control, always trying to trap 1 arm. I can also use this leg here that I created the angle to start going to arm bars. Right? Since I have the angle now, it's easier to pass my leg over his head. If I'm completely parallel to the guy, yeah, it's hard. I cannot even reach his head. But once I get my angle, yes, everything becomes easier here. And it's harder for him to escape because he cannot clear my bottom hook anymore. He's hooking on the far hip, right? His only option again is trying to go to his knees. But now I'm gonna use my seat belt here to block the top shoulder. And my foot here is stepping on the foot that's on his hip, so I push it down and I make sure that my seat belt runs against his top shoulder, so if he tries to go to his knees now, it's very, very hard. And I can keep the position, attack, and start trapping his arm with my leg. That's the advantage of creating this angle here. If we are on the overhook side, there is no angle because I cannot get underneath the guy because my head is on top. That's the nature of the seatbelt control, right? Once I am on the overhook side, I have primarily only chokes here. I cannot maneuver my legs unless I abandon this position completely. Go to a modified mount, and then I have something else, yes, but from this position, I only have chokes here. I cannot use my arm bars maintaining the back. Going back to the overhook side, if I'm parallel, yes, I still only have my chokes here. Again, reminder, keeping your head underneath his head. It's fine, yes, I can choke, great, but I have much more options. Getting my angle, and now, with this leg, I can start attacking him as well.
Here we have Rafael Mendes making great use of the angle from the underhook side, hooking his opponent's hip with his left foot and having his right leg completely free in order to trap his opponent's arm and start setting up his attacks. In this case, going for a triangle armbar submission. Now, controlling the back is only one part of the whole system. If you really want to take your game to the next level, you also need to learn how to take the back, how to recover when your opponent starts to escape, and how to actually finish from that position. So I've put all those pieces together in my new online course called Total Back Control. By the way, the back is one of my favorite positions, and I want to show you all the little details to make your back control also one of the strongest parts of your game. Most of the techniques of this course are going to be followed by competition footage examples, so you can rest assured this is not some theoretical thing that only works if your opponent has no resistance or if he cooperates with you. No, that's not how I like to teach. I like battle-tested stuff, proven techniques that work against the best guys in the world. All you have to do is follow the system and actually drill the techniques. If you don't drill it, you won't get any better. So if you're ready to take your jiu-jitsu to the next level, just click on the link below and I will see you on the other side. Even if you decide not to buy this course, I hope that you have learned some valuable information here that you can start implementing right away into your game. Talk to you soon.